There is a smell that comes up from a slow drain before the water even starts to pool. You notice it first at night when the house is quiet. Something sour, something old, rising out of the stainless steel. You buy the bottle for $9, the one with the skull and crossbones half hidden on the back label, and you pour it in, and for 3 days it works. And then the smell comes back, a little worse, because that bottle only ever burned through the top of the clog. It never touched what was underneath. In my kitchen, in a small glass jar by the sink, there is a white powder that costs about $2 for enough to last me half a year. I have used it every month for 30 years. My drains have never once backed up. It will not eat through an old pipe the way the bottled acid can. It will not burn your hands if it touches your skin while you pour it. It will not leave a chemical smell in the kitchen that lingers into the next morning's tea. And it will not cost you $9 every single month for the rest of the time you own this house. That part, the part about the money, we will come back to. My name is Maya Sato. I have kept the same wooden house in the Nagano Mountains for most of my life. The house I was raised in by my Oba-chan, my grandmother, and in a house that old, with pipes that old, a slow drain is not an emergency. It is a monthly chore, like sweeping the Ingawa. I have never once had to call a plumber for a clog in 30 years. There are 3 things in this method, and you likely already own 2 of them. The powder itself, baking soda, what we call juso, ordinary white vinegar, the kind in the pantry, and a full kettle of water, boiling. That is the whole system. No brush, no plunger, no bottle with a warning label. Do this once a month for less than the price of 1 bottle of the store-bought cleaner, and your drains will run clear and quiet, the way water is supposed to run, with no smell rising up to meet you when you walk into the kitchen at night. This is one small piece of how I keep this whole house running the old way. The drains, the floors, the linens, the kitchen, all of it, gathered together in one place I call La Biblioteca de Maya. If you want the whole of it, the link is below this video. The same link sits at the top of the comments, and there's a small square on the screen right now. Hold your phone up to it, and it will take you there. That is for those of you who want it. I will not mention it here again. Let me start with what most people get wrong, because if you do not understand this, nothing else in this video will hold. A drain does not clog all at once. It clogs the way a chimney clogs. A little grease, a little soap, a little hair, layered on the inside wall of the pipe, week after week, until the opening is smaller than it was, and the water starts to hesitate before it goes down. The bottled cleaner you buy at the store is built to dissolve that layer with acid or with lye, fast and violent, and it does dissolve it for a while. But it does nothing to stop the next layer from forming the very next week. You are not solving the problem. You are only ever buying yourself until Tuesday. The powder does something different. Baking soda is mildly alkaline, and on its own, sitting in a damp pipe, it lifts and loosens grease, the way a cold hand loosens a stuck jar lid, slowly and completely, without tearing at the metal underneath. When you follow it with vinegar, the two react against each other, and that reaction fizzes and pushes into every crack of buildup along the pipe wall, working itself into corners a straight stream of water could never reach on its own. It is not aggressive, it is thorough, and thorough is what actually keeps a drain clear. Here is exactly how I do it, and I want you to hear the amounts clearly because this is the part people write to me asking about most. Take half a cup of baking soda, that is about 120 grams, or roughly 4 heaping soup spoons, and pour it straight down the drain, dry, no water first. Let it sit in the opening for a moment, uncovered, while you fill a measuring cup with half a cup of plain white vinegar, about 120 milliliters. Pour the vinegar in slowly, right on top of the powder. You will hear it before you see it, a soft, steady fizzing, rising up out of the drain. That fizzing is the reaction working its way down the pipe wall. The moment you pour the vinegar, cover the drain, a small plate, a wet cloth, even your palm pressed flat over the opening for the first few seconds, because you want that reaction pushing down into the pipe, not escaping straight back up into the air. Leave it covered and undisturbed for 15 minutes, not 5. 15. This is where people rush, and rushing is why their drain still smells faintly by Thursday. 15 minutes is long enough for the fizzing to fully work through a month's worth of buildup. While you wait, put a full kettle on to boil, about 1 liter of water. When the 15 minutes are up and the kettle is at a rolling boil, pour the water down the drain slowly in one steady stream, not all at once in a rush. The boiling water is what actually carries the loosened grease and buildup out and away, down through the pipe and gone. Do this once a month, and a slow drain simply stops happening. Not slower. Stopped. Now, if you already have a drain that is genuinely sluggish, water sitting for 10-20 seconds before it starts to move, there is a second version of this, a little stronger, for that first deep clean, before you move to the monthly routine. Mix half a cup of baking soda with half a cup of coarse salt, about 100 grams of salt right in a small bowl, dry before you touch the drain at all. The salt adds a light abrasive edge that the plain powder does not have, enough to scrape at buildup that has been sitting for months, maybe longer. Pour that dry mixture down the drain, and this time leave it alone overnight, a full 8 hours if you can manage it, not 15 minutes. In the morning, boil your kettle, a full liter, and pour it through slowly, the same as before. For a drain that has been neglected a long time, you may need to do this overnight version twice, a week apart, before you drop down to the simple monthly maintenance. One more thing worth saying plainly, because it is the difference between this working and this failing quietly in the background. Never pour bleach down a drain in the days around either of these treatments. Bleach mixed with the acid and vinegar gives off a fume you do not want anywhere near your kitchen, and it will undo everything the baking soda has been doing. Keep the two apart, always, by at least a day, and you will never have a problem. I want to tell you the part that made me a little uneasy once I understood it. The companies that sell that bottle drain cleaner have known about baking soda and vinegar for as long as they have been selling anything at all. It is not a secret. It is chemistry that has been written down for over 100 years. But a bottle you buy once and use up in a week refills the shelf every single month. A box of baking soda that sits in your cabinet and costs you $2 does not need refilling for half a year. There is no reason for them to tell you that. There is a very clear reason for them not to. I remember the winter I was maybe 11, standing at my Obashan's elbow while she poured something white down the kitchen drain from an old tin with no label on it at all. And I asked her what it was, and she said only, It is what keeps the house from smelling like the house next door. I did not understand what she meant until years later, once I had a kitchen of my own, that a house that is cared for quietly, every month in small, unglamorous ways, simply never announces itself the way a neglected one does. You never smell my drains. You never smell my sink. That is not luck. That is a habit that costs about $2 a month and takes 15 minutes. I mostly spend boiling water for tea anyway. But the next thing I want to show you is the one that surprised even my neighbors, because none of them believed a bathroom drain, hair and all, could be cleared with the very same two ingredients until they tried it themselves. For a bathroom sink or tub drain, where hair is usually the real culprit and not just grease, the process starts the same. Half a cup of baking soda, about 120 grams, straight down the drain. But before you add the vinegar, take 30 seconds with a straightened wire hook, or even an old pair of tweezers, and pull up whatever hair sits just at the opening. You will be surprised how much clears in that first pull alone. Then follow with the same half cup of vinegar, cover for 15 minutes, and finish with your boiling kettle, exactly as before. Do the bathroom drains on the same monthly schedule as the kitchen, and you will never again reach the point where you need to call anyone to come and open up the pipe. So let me say the whole thing once more, slowly, so you can write it down. For monthly maintenance, on any drain, half a cup of baking soda, about 120 grams, roughly 4 heaping soup spoons, poured dry straight into the drain. Then half a cup of white vinegar, about 120 milliliters, poured slowly on top. Cover the drain for 15 minutes. Then 1 full liter of boiling water, poured slowly in one steady stream. Do this once a month on every drain in the house. For a drain that is already slow, before you begin the monthly routine, mix half a cup of baking soda with half a cup of coarse salt, about 100 grams of salt, dry, in a bowl first. Pour the dry mixture into the drain. Leave it undisturbed overnight, a full 8 hours. In the morning, 1 full liter of boiling water, poured slowly. Repeat once more a week later if the drain was very badly clogged. Never bleach within a day of either treatment. This one small jar of powder at about $2 will carry you through 6 months of every drain in your home. By this time next month, you will walk into your kitchen at night, and there will be nothing rising to meet you. No smell, no hesitation in the water. Nothing but a drain doing exactly what a drain is supposed to do. The whole of it, the powder, the vinegar, 1 kettle, costs you perhaps $2, and you will not need to spend it again for half a year. Tell me which drain in your house you are trying this on first. I read every one of them. Next time, I want to show you the one thing sitting in almost every kitchen that keeps cutting boards from ever holding a smell again. And it is not the thing you would guess. Until next time, waste nothing and take care of your home, and it will take care of you.